Romeo and Juliet, Mab and Mercutio. There are a number of long and important speeches in Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, prominent among which are Juliet's impassioned soliloquy before she takes the coma-inducing potion, Romeo's heartbreaking soliloquy in Juliet's tomb, the nurse's delightfully warm speech of reminiscence about the young Juliet, and the weighty moral sermon delivered by the friar to dissuade the desperate Romeo, under sentence of banishment, dissuade Romeo from committing suicide. All the speeches I've just mentioned are justified fully by the demands of the plot or the themes of the play, and none of them could be cut from the play without significant loss. All of them are, shall we say, necessary long speeches. In this video, however, I want to look at a very different long speech, a speech that one might perhaps describe as unnecessary, though, as I hope to explain, a speech that is both highly distinctive and of considerable interest. The speech in question is the so-called Queen Mab speech by Romeo's friend Mercutio, a speech that comes quite early in the play, in the scene where Romeo and his companions are planning to go to the Capulet ball. Romeo has just made a remark, quite out of the blue, that he has had a dream in the previous night, a dream that he suggests is possibly an ominous one, but he isn't given a chance to say anything about it because he's interrupted by his friend Mercutio, who launches into his speech about Queen Mab. The speech is as follows. "Oh, then I see Queen Mab hath been with you. She is the fairies' midwife, and she comes in shape no bigger than an agate stone on the forefinger of an alderman, drawn with a team of little atomi over men's noses as they lie asleep. Her chariot is an empty hazelnut, made by the joiner squirrel or old grub, time out of mind the fairies' coachmakers. Her waggon spokes made of long spinner's legs, the cover of the wings of grasshoppers, her traces of the smallest spider web, her collars of the moonshine's watery beams, her whip of cricket's bone, the lash of film, her waggoner a small grey-coated gnat, not half so big as a round little worm pricked from the lazy finger of a maid. And in this state she gallops nights by night through lovers' brains, and then they dream of love. O'er courtiers' knees that dream on curtsies straight, o'er lawyers' fingers who straight dream on fees, o'er ladies' lips who straight on kisses dream, which oft the angry Mab with blisters plagues, because their breaths with sweetmeats tainted are. Sometimes she gallops o'er a courtier's nose, and then dreams he of smelling out a suit. And sometimes comes she with a tithe pig's tail, tickling a parson's nose as he lies asleep, then dreams he of another benefice. Sometimes she driveth o'er a soldier's neck, and then dreams he of cutting foreign throats, of breaches, ambuscados, Spanish blades, of healths 5 fathom deep, and then anon drums in his ear, at which he starts and wakes, and being thus frighted, swears a prayer or two, and sleeps again. This is that very Mab that plats the manes of horses in the night and bakes the elf-locks in foul sluttish hairs, which once untangled much misfortune bodes. This is the hag, when maids lie on their backs, that presses them and learns them first to bear, making them women of good carriage. This is she. The speech, as you hear, ends mid-sentence, as it's Romeo's turn to do the interrupting this time with the words, "Peace, peace, Mercutio, peace. Thou talk'st of nothing." The contents of Mercutio's speech consists of 2 lists or catalogues, each one very different. The first list is a series of tiny details drawn from the natural world to convey the delicate smallness of the chariot of the fairy creature whom Mercutio calls Queen Mab. For example, the body of Mab's chariot is an empty hazelnut. The spokes of the wheels are the legs of spinners or daddy longlegs, and the driver of the wagon is a small grey-coated gnat. All these details have a fragile, miniature quality about them, and the mind that has conceived them would appear to be one that takes pleasure in toy-like, tiny things. It's the mind of a skilled craftsman or artist, perhaps, or maybe even that of a young child delighting in the contents of a doll's house. But the second half of the speech shifts to a different world, not the imagined world of tiny fairies, but the world of man. As Queen Mab enters the lives of human beings while they're asleep and gives them their dreams. Mercutio's second list takes on a completely different tone as well as content. In it, lawyers are shown as essentially money-driven people, dreaming of their fees. And the same mercenary motives also enter the heads of parsons, priests, who dream of gaining another benefice or source of income on top of their existing one. One of the longest details in this second list is that of a soldier, dreaming boldly of the things that belong to war, such as breaches in castle defences, fine quality swords made in Spain, drinking sessions with his comrades in arms. But then the soldier awakens, and all his bravado evaporates in a flash, and he desperately swears a prayer or two. Everyone in Mercutio's second list seems to be marked by some fault or other, and Mab appears to act as a malign, punishing influence upon women in particular. Ladies who dream of kisses are cursed with blisters on their lips by Mab, who has strangely become angry with them for tainting their breaths with sweetmeats. And Mab causes tangles in foul, sluttish hairs. If Mercutio can be said to be cynical about men belonging to various professions, he also shows distaste for women, his speech ending with a reductionist portrait of the life of young girls. Taking the 2 parts of the speech together as an indicator to the character of the speaker, it seems as though Mercutio has what we might think of as a bipolar type personality or mind, moving from a capacity for innocent delight in the first half of his speech to a disturbing vision of the world as flawed and unworthy of any praise in the second. It's the mind of someone mercurial, to use a word derived from Mercutio's own name, someone changeable, volatile, moving swiftly from one mood to another. As I've already pointed out, Romeo interrupts his friend before he can take things any further, telling him that he talks of nothing. And Mercutio goes on to admit that this is so. Unlike the speeches that I mentioned at the start of this talk, Mercutio's Queen Mab speech has nothing in it that connects obviously and directly with the plot or with the central themes of the play. It could be thought of then, in the word that I used earlier, as unnecessary. Yet, the speech is a remarkable one. remarkable in its spontaneity and originality. The whole speech on stage is often made into a virtuoso performance, like an extended percussion solo, a tour de force by the actor taking the part of Mercutio. Think of it as a show of fireworks, brilliant flashes that light up the stage, just like the flaming torches carried by the party of Romeo's young friends as they walk along at night on their way to the Capulet ball. The character of Mercutio is stamped by his Queen Mab speech as one to be watched from now on, a character who can move from being delighted to being disillusioned within seconds, a character who brings us the unexpected. About an hour later on stage from the Queen Mab's speech, almost exactly halfway through the play, the unexpected happens, as Mercutio's unpredictable actions bring about his own death, followed within minutes by the death of his killer, Tybalt, at the hands of Romeo, in revenge for the killing of his friend. In Shakespeare's main source for the play, a narrative poem by a man called Arthur Brooke, Shakespeare found the name Mercutio as one of Romeo's friends, but Shakespeare did not find the speech about the mysterious Queen Mab in his source, nor did he find the sparkling, changeable, attractive, but also dark and dangerous character of Mercutio that we're given in Romeo and Juliet. In Arthur Brooke's poem, Mercutio is completely unremarkable, a nonentity. In Shakespeare's play, Mercutio is utterly extraordinary, and Mercutio's Queen Mab's speech is the distinctive early signal in Romeo and Juliet that Shakespeare's creative imagination is powerfully at work on producing one of the most memorable secondary characters in all his plays. Thank you for listening.